Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL Don't Panic, and about the gazillionth attempt I've had at doing this video. I am supposed to be in my car traveling out of Auckland at the moment. So first up, apologies for those of you that watched the video that I posted up a couple of hours ago. I just watched the playback a little while ago and thought, oh no, that's not good. That's not good. That needs to be deleted. A few errors there in the spreadsheet, and I don't think that would have misled you too much. But given the complexity of the minefields that we're going to be wading through, particularly through doubles 32, 33, blanks 34, potential double game weeks in looks like 36. I thought, no, let's just delete that. So this one's going to be a an even quicker one than the last one. And what I will do is after this game week, I'll just take you through how my team looks going across that minefield of those doubles and those blanks, particularly that I'm trying to negotiate it without chips. And the plan that I've put in place, which although it's not optimal, I'm not too unhappy with it, but it is a little bit complicated when players are coming in, coming out, etc., etc. So let's start with the latest challenges. As I said in the now deleted video, I am an absolute fucking jinx. I swear to God, I really am. Strikers. I have had them all this season, and anytime I bring them in, something happens. Off the top of my head, started with Havertz, João Pedro, Mateta, Cunha, Watkins, Haaland, twice now. Who else? Dango. All of them. I buy the strikers. The strikers get injured. They get benched. They get rotated. They get played out of position. Something. Absolute fucking jinx. And the latest one has occurred. Team I've got up there at the moment is how I would have to line up if I don't do any transfers. And in the last video that I did where I showed you my spreadsheet and projected points, and it was all looking very good. I had a pretty decent game week, the last game week. Team was looking really, really good for this week with Strand Larson, Haaland up front and Wood. It's all looking good. It's all looking good. And as I said I think in that last video I did just before just after the game week and everything, and where I made the decision to roll, something will happen. Something always happens. I was feeling very, very content with the world. And of course, the entire front line has been decimated. Certainly, Wood is gone. That doesn't sound. He's had a scan. Doesn't sound like it's gone very well. And the soundings are, I think he's going to be out. He's certainly going to be out for the next game week, and it sounds like he could well be out for a few, which is a shame. I would have been moving him on at some point, but I was happy enough hanging on to him for another game week or two as I sort of gradually transitioned in towards that double game week 32. But I was quite happy to roll for the next couple of weeks, but that option's been taken away, especially now that Haaland doesn't look good either. Watching the game last night, had another sleepless night as I usually do when the football's on, and it was about 30 to go, I think, and I thought, yeah, we're looking good. Looks like we've come through the game week. Comes Geg. Oh, he's down. He's down. He's down. Oh, he's up. He's up again. Oh, he's back on the pitch. Oh, he's down again. Yeah. So if I was to roll, this is what I'd be going with. Now, weirdly, very, very weirdly, it actually shows a better projection than if I had been going with a 3-4-3 with the Haaland, Wood, and Strand Larsen up front. Because Haaland's not been pulling up any trees. He's been consistent in that he's been getting a return most weeks, but it's at 15 odd million. It's hardly been inspiring. Let's put it that way. It's been full of 5s, 7s, 6s. Yeah, not really what you want from your 15 million striker. And Wood has blanked in his last 4, I think it is. So his numbers had gone down. Strand Larsen had a nice 12 for me, of course, and I think Strand Larsen is actually okay for this week. His is a hand injury, I believe, so he probably would be okay. But yeah, this team actually does shows a bit of projection. My the team would have been shown predicted points of 58, 59, excluding captaincy. So it's obviously always got that hope that you have a nice clean game week and you get a good captain's return on top to get me towards that 70. But this team just it's actually shown a proof point or two more, mainly because that defence has been actually going pretty well for me in recent weeks. I'd had massive problems with defence for most of this season, and it's been my midfielders and strikers that have been going well. It's actually my defence that's been holding up their end in recent weeks and sort of keeping me on track on that sort of 70-point average. Um, Minoz has been good since I brought him in. I've had some returns out of him. Gabriel's clean sheeting every second week. Gavardio unspectacular but a few returns. Milenkovic has been an absolute star, and Konate with a couple of clean sheets in there as well. So the defence has actually been really holding up its end. Midfield's not been going too bad, and obviously the Strand Larsen return. I could roll with this. But I ain't fucking gonna. It's too scary. It does show about a 60 point without captaincy, but yeah, that feels too risky. So what have I done? What have I done? Well, I broke my rule, and I have over there. Get you up there. I have taken a hit, but I am going to term this one. I haven't done one for a while. I am going to term it a strategic worsening of points. So cleaned out the front line. Now I will next week. I just haven't got time now to do it. Just to sort the spreadsheet out, make the corrections, and do all the projections because I've got to be in a car very shortly, heading out of Auckland. But I want to just sort of take you through this loosely. This team is obviously I've cleaned out that front line. We've got Haaland in now. We've got Mateta and Isak. I don't know Haaland and Marmoush. Marmoush has come in for Haaland, of course. So the hit here I would classify as being Marmoush. If I hadn't played Marmoush and I'd just gone with the Mateta and the Isak coming in for Wood, if I'd gone with that and just gone with that, I'm losing my trail of thought. But yeah, if I'd gone with just the Isak and Mateta transfers in for Strand Larsen and Wood, it would have been okay. Would have been okay, but I really wanted a piece of that Man City attack for that particular fixture because there's just going to be gold in that. Even though City have not been fantastic, they could have easily had 3 or 4 in that first 20-30 minutes against Bournemouth overnight. Haaland obviously missed a penalty and a couple of other really good chances as well. And I just think there's gold in that, and I want a piece of it. So that is where the hit is, or the swap. But Marmoush is not a short-term buy. He's obviously in there because his minutes have been good in the Premiership. I think Haaland's out for a few weeks. I think we're going to find he's out for a few weeks. So we should have him for the double as well. I think he'll play in the double. So it's a little bit of a risk there if we suddenly, Haaland has a miracle recovery and is back in the next couple of weeks, but doesn't look that great. But I'm kind of happy to have Marmoush anyways, and I think he will start most games. So bit of a gamble there. Call it a swap, not a hit. But I guess we can only weigh that up, not in one game week, but what I get out of him over the next few game weeks. But as a team, that looks pretty good for this game week. I'll go through the spreadsheet properly with you guys next week. It looks really good for the next 2 or 3 game weeks. There will be change. So as we get towards 32, I will look to. Now these are not set in concrete. I've obviously got my 3 Crystal Palace assets there for the 32. I would have liked to have had a Sarr or an Eze, but I already had Henderson. It was kind of a plan I made a few weeks back, and looking back, yeah, it would have probably been. There could have been some other options. Now that we know Arsenal are doubling, for instance, I would have probably gone Ray and goal, but I haven't got the transfers to burn. I need to save transfers for specific things so that I can come out in 34 with a decent, 9-ish players intact. Again, as I said, I'll go through that with the spreadsheet next week. I'm not looking bad. Looking good for 32. We'll look to bring in foreign Kunku, who I think is going to be a bit of a liability. Well, he's been a bit of a liability already, anyways. But I think we're looking at Jackson's coming back, so he's going to lose his minutes almost imminently. So I think foreign Kunku will probably have probably Murphy coming in, and quite likely for Mbomo. I've kept enough money in the bank, and Mbomo is likely to turn into Saka because we know that Arsenal are going to be doubling in 33 now, or we're fairly sure, and that's probably the one caveat I'd put on this. I'm taking the punt here that we do know that it's Palace and Arsenal, etc. that are doubling in 33, and City. But we don't know that for 100% certain, and we've been hit with surprises. It doesn't look like Forest will get moved into 33 because of the fixture congestion, the way their fixtures are falling. It's actually quite likely that Forest will stay in 34, but we'll go through that in a bit more detail next week. But this isn't badly laid out. I'll have a good number of really good doublers. I'll obviously be reasonably well set up, maybe not fully optimized. It might be two Newcastle and three Palace. I might decide to go the full six doublers for that, but I think I'd rather look to bring in Saka or someone like that in 30 for 33, and maybe even one more, but just want to try and have those couple of transfers when I hit 34, so I've at least got really good 8 or 9 players at least for there, even if it's say leaving me a little bit short. But this team doesn't look bad. It looks really good this game week. It's looking pretty good for 31 as well. Then, as I said, I hit 32. I'll make a couple of transfers just to increase my amount of doublers for 32 and for 33. And then we just keep our fingers crossed that I don't fall, as I say, with the free hitters, the bench boosters, etc., that I don't fall too far off the mark by not having any chips, not to come out into 34. Not too bad. Then I'll hit 35 and be able to start optimizing a bit. There will be more doubles, but believed to be probably 36. But we'll just have to see how that unfolds. I think I have to look immediate now, try and keep myself reasonably optimized, try and stay in touch and hit each challenge. And God knows I'm getting hit with the challenges as they come. But overall, no, this looks good. I've got some really good rotations off the bench, particularly when I do hit some of those blanks, like Henderson would obviously be one of the blankers, but I've got South, for instance, coming in a great fixture in 34. I think it's Ipswich at home. So it works reasonably well. It's as optimized as I can get it at the moment. If you are thinking of the only advice I can give you, I guess, is if your team is looking good and you can get through, I think, this game week without using your wild card, I think it is the way to go. That is what I would do if I was in a better position myself. Information is power, and at the moment, anyone that is wildcarding now, we're going off our best guess as when these doubles are going to fall, and they may prove to be 100% correct, and whoop-de-doo, fantastic. But could be more injuries in this game week. This could be. I could get to this now. I've gone pulling what little hair I've got left out. In game week 31, and a couple more injuries now, and it really is going to create serious problems. Just think if you can, just to delay that wild card until 31. A lot of people will be wild carding this week. I don't think my team is a million miles off what a wild card would look like by the time I do bring in Murphy and Saka or something like that. I think it's almost going to be a bit template-ish, to be honest with you, which probably brings me to my next point. Captaincy. Do I go Salah? I'm on him at the moment, and I think that's probably ultimately where I will go. But he's not been pulling up any trees in terms of his actual performance the last few game weeks, has he? But he just keeps managing to get, one moment of class and then a dodgy penalty. All of a sudden, that's 2 goals. Pings in an assist from somewhere. And he's on 15, 16, 17 points. 17 points, and it looks like he's hardly done anything in the match. Everton are not bad defensively. I think this is not a bad week. I would have been captaining Haaland, but if I had Haaland, I would have been captaining him. I've got a big temptation to put it on Mamouche and stick with that great fixture. but I'm also not averse to Mateta either. You know, yeah, I think Southampton are. I think they're worse defensively at home than they are away from home. I really do. I really do. Because they come out to play a little bit more. There's bigger spaces. That Palace attack looks really good. I didn't think Mateta looked brilliant in the cup match. I'm a little, as I say, a little regretful I haven't got a Sour or an Eze. But as I say, it's the way that sort of, the transfers have fallen for me. And unless I wanted to actually make additional transfers, moving Henderson out for Raya, and then I haven't got those transfers to play with. Simple as that. And so I've optimised as best I have been able to with what I have, knowing that I'm going to need transfers, over the next, 32, 33, and 34 in particular. I need to have a couple of transfers at least at 34. So, not unhappy with it though. Not unhappy with it. Projection wise, as I say, I have to run this through the spreadsheet, but I need to give it a tidy up and just correct a few things. We'll run through it next week. It's projected. It's got me back up to the 70 average. It shows a 70 average, and the median is coming in at 65. So my prediction is 65 excluding captaincy, so hopefully it's a really nice clean game week, and whoever I do put the captain's armband on does something for me. But the prediction 65. I always go with the lowest of the median or the average, but I'm hopeful with those fixtures that it could be a really good game week. I hope so, and hopefully maybe by just doing this, maybe I beat a few people to the punch and I get a bit of upside and I come through injury free. We all know how that's going to play out, don't we? I think we do. I think we do. So listen, guys, if you were someone that watched the earlier video that I put up and I had to delete, apologies. It is what it is. But I thought, no, I can't leave that up there. That was an absolute mess. So this is hopefully just a little bit cleaner. I'll come back after the game week and we'll do a review, and hopefully it has been a good one. Hope you all enjoyed the FPL break. I, for one, am glad it is over. That international break just went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. Take care. Have fun. Play your own game. Don't panic. And I will see you on the flip side, and I hope we all have fantastic game weeks as we get into the squeaky bum end of the season. See you soon. Bye-bye.